Hey everyone! Today we're going to take a gentle step back from all the pressure and intensity that sometimes comes with building software. Instead, we're just going to take a calmer look at some of the stories we tell ourselves about how this all works. What if some of the things we assume are these hard and fast rules are actually, well, more like folklore? Let's just explore that idea together for a bit. Not to find fault with anything, but just to find a little more breathing room in the work that we do.
All right, so let's dive in. You might not really think about it this way, but the world of software has its own culture, right? It's got its own stories, its own unwritten rules that just kind of get passed down from one developer to the next, and that's what we could call software folklore. I love this quote because it frames it perfectly. It's not a criticism, it's just an observation. When a field is as new and fast-moving as software, stories are how we try to make sense of it all. But the flip side is that this folklore can sometimes create some really unrealistic expectations and a whole lot of unnecessary pressure.
And that's really what this is all about today. This isn't about being cynical or tearing things down. It's about building a more forgiving, a more realistic, and honestly, a kinder understanding of what it really means to create software. It's about finding a calmer path. So let's start with a really big one. It's a feeling I think pretty much every student and every new developer has had at some point. This idea that our job is finished the second the code is delivered. We've all felt that huge sense of relief, haven't we? You've worked so hard, you've debugged everything, the program finally runs, and it feels like you've crossed the finish line. This piece of folklore says, yep, that's the end of the story. But the reality, it's actually really different. That moment of delivery isn't the end. In so many ways, it's the true beginning of the software's life out in the real world. So what's with this number? Well, it's a big one. Industry data pretty consistently shows that 60 to 80% of the total effort and cost of a software project is spent after it's delivered for the very first time. That's all the work of maintenance, of adapting it, of helping it evolve. So let's just pause on that for a second. Maybe we can reframe maintenance not as some kind of chore, but as a sign of life. If software is being changed, it means it's being used. It's relevant. It's not a static thing. It's a living, breathing part of its environment.
Okay, let's move on to our next piece of folklore. And this is one you see pop up all the time, especially when a project starts to run a little behind schedule.
Now, on the surface, this makes perfect sense, right? I mean, if you're digging a ditch and you're behind, yeah, more people with shovels will probably help you catch up. So it feels really intuitive to apply that exact same logic to software. But here's the thing, building software isn't like digging a ditch or working on an assembly line. It's not just a mechanical process. The crucial part to remember is that the work isn't only about writing code. It's this incredibly complex web of communication and understanding and coordination. This quote just nails it. It's a super famous observation from Fred Brooks' book, The Mythical Man Month. And even though it sounds completely backwards, it points to a really deep truth about how software teams actually work. So why does this happen? Well, first off, new people don't just show up knowing the project. They need time to learn the code, the architecture, the goals, and who trains them? The existing team members do. So they have to stop what they're doing to get the new folks up to speed. This actually reduces the team's output for a while, and it can push that deadline even further away. So let's just sit with that thought for a moment. A software team isn't just a collection of interchangeable parts. It's a group of people learning how to move together. It's a human system. It's a delicate dance of communication and shared understanding. Okay, for our last piece of folklore, let's explore something that comes from one of software's greatest strengths, its flexibility. Because code is just text, It's not something physical like concrete or steel. So there's this belief that we can change it easily, at any time. The material itself is so malleable, so making a new request should be simple, right? Well, the reality is that while software is flexible, the cost and the effort of that flexibility changes dramatically depending on when a change is introduced. The timing is everything. See, when a project is just getting started, in those early design phases, a change is small. It's like dropping a tiny pebble in a calm puddle, just a few ripples. The impact is contained, it's easy to manage. But making that exact same change after the system is already built and out in the world, whoa, it can be a tidal wave. It might mean rewriting huge chunks of code, redesigning the architecture, redoing all the testing, updating documentation. The change just cascades through the entire system, and the cost can grow exponentially. And this reminds us that spending a little time on clarity and communication right at the start of a project, that's not bureaucracy. It's an act of kindness to our future selves. It helps make sure the journey ahead is going to be much, much gentler. So after looking at these common myths, what can we really take away from all this? The goal here isn't to be perfect or to never make mistakes. It's simply to move forward with a little more awareness and maybe a little less pressure on ourselves. So here are just a few gentle reminders. It's okay that software needs to evolve after it's released. That just means it's alive and it's useful. It's okay that teamwork is a complex human thing, not some simple equation. And it's okay to just acknowledge that change has a cost and to plan for it thoughtfully. This is just the nature of the work. And so we'll end with this thought. What if we could let go of all the pressure to arrive at some perfect final destination? What if, instead, we just embraced the reality that building software is a continuous journey of learning and adapting and evolving? Perhaps that's a calmer, more sustainable way for all of us to move forward. Thanks for exploring this with me.